The following podcast is an Enticing Media production.
Where the Nell have you been? Join us for conversation about life, business, and everything in between. Welcome to What the Nell, where we've got stories to tell. Here's your host, Nell Tice.
Hello, you guys. Welcome back to another brand new episode of the What the Nell podcast with yours truly, Nell Tice. Got another solo one today, and this came to me. We're coming off of Thanksgiving weekend, and this came to me in a dream overnight last night, and I thought it was really important to record about it because there are a lot of new businesses out there, and we need to remind ourselves sometimes, as especially newer business owners, that there are things that maybe need to be tended to in our organizations by the end of the year. So I want to go through a list. I don't know if I want to call it like the top 5 or the top 6 or 7 or whatever, things that we need to be thinking about or doing before the end of the year, but it's going to be kind of a hodgepodge of tips and things that I've learned and things that I want to make sure that you're thinking about, especially if you are a new business owner, to get completed, because it's just going to make your life a lot more easier in 2025. And there are things that are mandatory that need to happen as well. And one of those items is a new item on the list for this year. So we'll talk about that. But like I mentioned, we are coming off of the Thanksgiving holiday weekend, and I really sincerely hope that you guys all had a great one and were able to spend a little bit of time with your friends and family. So happy Thanksgiving, belatedly. But anyway, okay, so I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet, and here we go. Okay, so one of the biggest things that you need to be thinking about and doing before the end of the year is your annual board meeting. So having a board meeting, I know it sounds like big and fancy. Oh, I have to go do this and have all these people and blah, 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 but that's just not the case. My husband and I sat down probably a few weeks ago now to have our quote board meeting, unquote, for Enticing Media. And it's basically a meeting where you go over financials and decide, have you hit your goals for the year or not? And, how can you set goals that will, for 2025 that will help you be more successful. And so that's part of it. It's also going over some taxes. Are there things that need to be reconciled? And I know, I get very complacent sometimes in doing that because you're so busy working in your business that sometimes you feel like you don't have time to be working on your business. And that is something that will make your life so much easier in 2025 if you start reconciling and getting all of those things together now before like April 14th when taxes are due. Or just in general, when everybody's just up against it, because you don't know what's going to happen in early next year. You could become so much more busier, is that like a thing? No, you could become so much busier that you don't have time at all. And if you don't have an accountant, maybe think about it if that is actually the case. But so anyway, yes, get some tax stuff together and make your life easier for the beginning of next year. Definitely talk about your budget for 2025 and even your marketing for Q1. This is also really important. People tend to not think about these things, marketing especially, until it's time to actually do the marketing work. Come up with your content strategy and figure out, your social media and your newsletters and all the things that go into marketing. What kind of advertisements are you planning to do next year? Are you budgeting for video production? Maybe, it's something that's super important to get your business out there and to get people to like, know, and trust you, which is the ultimate reason people do business with you to begin with. So get all of that together in your board meeting. And I mean, that's what it's called. I know that that's something that needs to happen for LLCs to maintain activity. And it's really important too, to also figure out, have a goal and know where you're going, where you want to be. And, make decisions. It doesn't mean that everything that you decide today has to be like, there's going to be some pivoting. Like that's just the nature of the beast. So set clear goals, have intentions, and just get that done. So that is number one. Number two is super important. It's brand new for this year. If you have an LLC, I think it's that you filed before January 1 of 2024. Don't quote me on that. And I'm not a tax or financial advisor, so please do your own research for sure. But definitely I know this is required. It's called a BOI, and it stands for Beneficial Ownership Information. We actually just talked to our accountant about it the other day. I know people talk to their lawyers. So you want to make sure that it's filled out right, because I know there are some penalties involved if it's not filled out right and if it's not filled out prior to the beginning of next year. So definitely look into getting that filed and filled out now, because I don't know about you, but things that I don't typically do, I need to have a little bit of like, all right, I don't want to rush through this. I need to sit down and figure this out. So a little bit of time to get all that together is definitely helpful. So it doesn't sound like you want to rush through this one. So absolutely do your research on that. But I know it does need to get filed. Definitely look into what 1099s you need to have for contractors in your business. So, or actually our accountant emailed us to remind us about it. So we'll be getting on that one very soon too. So 1099s for sure. And if you have employees, I know that there are other things that you need to be worried about. Not worried, but thinking about by the end of the year. So we don't have employees, so that's not something that we have to focus on, but I know obviously lots of people do. So be thinking about that for sure. Take this time to go over contracts. Do you have contracts, annual contracts with people that need to be renewed? Do you have semi-annual contracts? It's a good time to look over that information, see where you are in your contracts and decide, what needs to be renewed, what needs to be looked at, and be planning for contracts for next year for sure. So that might be something that you want to go over with your lawyer on. So this is a great time to be doing a lot of that. So step to it. This one kind of goes, I think, throughout the year. I don't necessarily think that we should be focusing on this just towards the end of the year, but this is a great time to ask for feedback from people, from clients and customers, get testimonials that you can use on your website, on your social media, on your newsletter, and all of your marketing too. People love to see testimonials. So it's a great time to just say, hey, can you take a few minutes to fill out this short form or write a review, give us the 5 stars. Speaking of, if you're listening to this, we would appreciate a review wherever you listen to your podcast. So definitely a good time to do that as we wrap up this year and this quarter. So, but like I said, we should be doing that all year long. So not necessarily just at this time, but it's a good time and a reminder to do that. So the next thing I want to focus on is, your bonuses and thank yous and all of those things. Again, thank yous are not something that we should just save to do at the end of the year. It should be happening all year round. Thank you notes, thank you cards, and all different kinds of ways to say thank you, whether it's a gift or a phone call or anything like that, should be happening regularly. But it's a good time of year, especially when people are sending holiday cards right now. It's a great time to say thank you to the people that have supported you and your business. Like I said, customers, clients, family members, friends, anything like that. What's something simple that you can do for them to say thank you? It's a good time to do that just because we're all kind of in that headspace. And, but like I said, we should be doing that all year round, but right now is a good time to focus on that. And yeah, bonuses, it's not just customers and clients and people that support you and your friends and family too. Think about your employees and your contractors, and what can you do for them to say thank you? Thank you for helping us do what we do, and thank you for supporting that vision and that mission. And that's also, I mean, if it's not number one, like, it should be very close. It takes a village. It really does. And people say that all the time in, parenting and things like that, but it does too for small businesses. It absolutely takes a village. You can't do everything yourself, and you must absolutely have gratitude for those that help you on this journey, because without them, it just wouldn't be happening. So definitely think about that. And then last but definitely not least, make sure you are taking some time to rest and recharge before the end of the year. It is such a busy time for so many people. For some, for most people in the retail side of things, if you have a retail business, this is the busiest time of year for you. Restaurants, especially too. We can get so caught up in everything that we have to do that sometimes we even forget about the things that we want to do. And for me, part of that is realizing that there are things that I don't have to do. You don't have to cook everything for your family for the holiday dinners. You don't even have to have people over if you don't want to. You can do whatever you want. And realizing that you have that power and that control and those choices sometimes is enough for my own personal self-care. And I would highly suggest that to anyone that feels super pressured to do things that they don't want to do this holiday season. And because I know it's something that's routine, it's tradition, it's, the common phrase is just because we've always done it that way. That doesn't have to be that way. You can start new traditions. You can do whatever the fuck you want. So please keep that in mind. Keep yourself healthy. That's all part of it, because I truly believe that stress is a lot of the reason so many of us become so unhealthy this season. So keep your stress at bay. Take care of yourself. If there's a day or time that you see that's open and you feel like you need to fill it with something, don't. Just say, you know what? I'm going to take this opportunity to lay down and take a nap, or I'm going to go get a facial or a massage or something that's good for you. So just please take time for yourself this season. And as you're wrapping everything up, thinking about all of these things, you're getting everything ready for the holidays, buying all the gifts and taking care of the kids and taking them to God knows where. Just think about you, even just for 10 minutes a day. Just do a little bit of meditation or some stretching or something. And let's make it a goal, all of us, to bring ourselves into the new year feeling super happy and healthy about everything that we may or may not have accomplished this year. So that's the biggest goal. Going into the new year feeling fresh and ready to bring on whatever 2025 brings on for us. So I told y'all I was going to keep it short and sweet. So think about those things, and I can almost guarantee you that you'll feel better about everything going into the new year. So I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you thought you learned something today and are going to be thinking about these things if you haven't done any of them yet. So hopefully it helps. And if you have any questions about anything that I talked about today, definitely hit me up. You can find me on all the socials. Email me. All of my contact information is in the show notes below. So get in touch. I would love to talk to you. And let's bring 2025 in the best way we absolutely can. So thank you so much for listening. Please like this video and on YouTube and subscribe to the channel. Help us grow. Leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. We so appreciate it, and you. So thank you so much. And as always, I will catch you on the next one.
To learn more about how to tell your story, connect with Nell at enTICEingmedia.com. That's enTICEingmedia.com. Thanks for listening to the What the Nell podcast.